Hi friend, welcome back to my channel. Today I have an abundance of makeup products that I have finished off in the last like 3 to 4 months. I'm gonna go ahead and go in order of how I apply these products. So let's go ahead and start with the primer products that I have finished off. So I have one full-size face primer that I managed to use up. It was the Kat Von D Pore Refining Primer, or I should say KVD, whatever this brand is now. This I got in a Trend Mood box that I happened to purchase. I think I've only purchased one Trend Mood box. This is the Lock-It Pore Refining Primer. This wasn't a bad primer by any means, but I don't necessarily feel like it's better than the Porefessional from Benefit. I think they're for the kind of the same purpose, and I like the texture of that a bit better than this. This I'm pretty sure is silicone free, but it has sort of this like gel type of texture that's just so. Again, I was able to use all of it. It was fine. It was a decent one to use this particular winter, but I wouldn't necessarily say I'm going to go out of my way to buy it. I then have two face primer samples. I have this one from Dior, the Forever New. This was their Forever Glow Veil and then their Forever Skin Glow. I was only able to use the primer sample. This is a super glowy primer, which really isn't my jam because for me, it's a fine line between looking sweaty and looking glowy, and oftentimes in my humid climate in this time of year and then in the summer, it just is that I'm actually sweaty. It just reads sweaty. So I wasn't really into this, but it was nice to at least sample it. And then I also have the Peace Out Instant Pore Perfector with hyaluronic acid, niacinamide, and mushroom extract. This was a really interesting sample. I used this multiple times. It had a cooling effect. I'm not sure if it even marketed that it was supposed to do that, but it did really feel texturally similar to the Porefessional. So I'd be curious to know price point, how they compare both in price and how much product you get, because I might be tempted. I do like this brand, so I could see myself perhaps in the future picking one of these up. And then for eye primers, I have a sample. It's the Urban Decay Original Eyeshadow Primer Potion. What a throwback. This stuff is good, but it's now better than the Milani one that I get for a fraction of the price. So I just slowly use these as they inevitably come my way. Not a bad product, definitely an OG eye-based product that I was once using in my older times, but no longer a product that I need to have in my life. Next up, I have some lip balms. So I have these two samples. These are the Flawless 24 Hours of Plump. I have the Forget the Filler Lip Plumping Line Smoothing Gloss and the Overnight Lip Plumping Mask. I've actually purchased a full-size gloss because it really kept sucking me in, and I do like it, but the plumping mask, super thin and slippy, which is not my preferred texture. Do not feel compelled to buy that product. And then I have this lip balm, which, oh my gosh, it's from Burt's Bees. It's the Coconut and Pear Moisturizing Lip Balm. This took me forever to use, and it was super slippy on my lips. Like, it was very easy. It's very emollient. It was very easy to over apply, and then it felt like I had a lot of product on here, and it felt really thin, and it didn't feel like, it felt like I was putting coconut oil onto my lips. Definitely not a product that I would buy again, and I'm happy, very proud to have been able to use this up completely. Not easy to do, but definitely not something that I was really in love with. Definitely a one and done for me. While we're here, we'll talk about one other lip product, even though it's not the order that I would apply it. It is one of my favorite formulas of the lip oil realm. It is from the no longer in existence Jacqueline Cosmetics. This was the Bubble Drip lip oil that she came out with. I love the texture of this. I've tried other lip oils, and to be honest, this really wasn't a lip oil. This to me was more of a lip gloss, which is probably why I liked it so much. I do love a juicy, glossy lip, and this checked off those boxes. It also was basically a bit more than like a clear gloss, so it went with basically anything that I was applying. I like this a lot. My problem with this whole company, Jacqueline aside, the problem that I had with this whole line was everything that I've tried from the line I liked, but I thought it was overpriced for what it was. Case in point, I only purchased this when it was on a discount. Same thing with her loose powder and what was it? her, not foundation, but basically the foundation product that she had. It's actually on my face right now. I liked a lot of the products. Again, putting her aside because I wouldn't say I'm her biggest fan, but I liked a lot of the things in there. They just were too pricey for me. And this was one of those products where you did not get a lot of product price per point, comparing it to other formulas and how much product you were getting and how much it costs. It wasn't great bang for your buck. At the discounted price, it was good. And I did buy a few more of these when I could get them on sale. So I'm happy to have them, and it doesn't matter, I can't get them anyways, but it says a lot to finish off an entire product, and to even have taken the stopper out to get all the product tells you how much I really like this, because I'm not short on lip gloss products, but this was lovely. Happy that I used it up. Happy that I have more from this line as well. All right, now let's talk about mascaras. I have a ton that I have used up. So I have a few primers. I have first my favorite from Sephora, which I don't think still exists. It's the Lash Craft Lash Primer. This is the best. Let me tell you why. If you don't know my lash history, I'm somebody who doesn't necessarily have finicky lashes. I don't even curl my lashes. I'm happy with my lashes. I just like my lashes to look a bit thicker. This is perfect for that. This basically thickens up my lashes and makes them look almost double their width, which gives my lashes overall more body or volume when I apply them, which I like. So that's why I've purchased this over and over again. And when they deeply discounted it, I think from $12 to $5, I bought a whole bunch in hopes that I would not run out of it anytime soon if they did in fact discontinue it. So it is my best. My second backup to this, if this is actually gone, would be Milani's The Violet one. That primer does the same thing, but it's a bit finicky pulling it out of the stopper. You have to do a little bit of like cleanup work, which is kind of annoying, but this is so good. If you can still get your hands on it, I'd recommend. Then, because I love to try a lash primer, it's kind of like cleansing balm. I love trying lash primers. Maybelline came out with their Lash Sensational Sky High primer. And when I bought this and got it home, I thought to myself, this seems like, for all intents and purposes, the exact same as their Sky High mascara. So then I bought the same Sky High Lash Sensational mascara just to kind of see, and I'm feeling pretty convinced that they are essentially the same. You can see here with the wands, like maybe there's a slight difference, but on the lashes, it basically looked the same, because I did do some really scientific experimentation where I used this as a primer and I used on one eye this as a primer and then the same mascara layered over it, and the effect was the same. I don't love it. It's a wet type of mascara application. I don't feel like it really thickened. It was definitely something, I think, which makes sense, Sky High. It added volume, or not volume, excuse me, it added length to the lashes, not volume. And so this wasn't it for me. And again, I would tell you, if you actually like the idea of that, just buy the regular mascara, since they both seem to do the same thing. The last primer that I have was awful. It was the Too Faced Better Than Sex Foreplay. This is a sample, and I was jazzed about it because I love a good sample mascara. This was so dry, it did nothing for my lashes. I don't know if I just got a dud and it was dried out. I've heard people talk about how much they like this. They don't like the Better Than Sex mascara, but they like the Foreplay one better. Nope, would not recommend, did not enjoy my experience, and not going back for more. I have some other sample mascaras because I am just a big fan of buying the sampler mascara sets from Sephora that you can then cash in to get a full size of a mascara. So in that set, I tried the Too Faced Better Than Sex, which I have to say, the last time I had this, long time ago, I feel like I didn't love it, but this go around, I did like the impact on my lashes. I just like couldn't get myself to want to buy it. I was like, no, that's so basic. Don't go with that one. Fortunately, there were other ones that I ended up trying after this that I did like better, but it did remind me that this isn't a terrible mascara. It's just one of those ones that it's been around for so long that I think it gets overlooked even by me, and it wasn't a terrible experience. I also have the Milk Rise mascara. I don't feel like I've heard a lot about this. The wand looks like this. It didn't excite me. It didn't do a whole lot for my lashes. I'm pretty sure this is a lengthening and not a voluming mascara, and I'm much more of a volume person because, again, I like my lashes natural length. It's more of a thickening that I don't love as much on my lashes. Then we have the top two that I had from that sample that I really liked. I had the Tartelette Tubing Mascara, which I have heard a lot of people talking about. I'll be honest, I don't really get the hype of the tubing mascaras, but I love a Tarte mascara. They are always top contenders, if not the top dog in those samplers. Tarte and Too Faced tend to pop up a lot in those, and this one was no exception. This did a really nice job adding that thickness to my lashes. It was a lovely experience. I did end up cashing in for the full size one because I liked it so much, but I was tempted by the Benefit Fan Fest, which caught me off guard because there's been some other mascaras from Benefit that I've tried that I haven't loved, like the Roller Lash does not do it for me. But this one also had some of that curved wand, but this did a really nice job doing both thickening and volumizing. So I think in the future, if I had another sampler kit with this in it, I would go for this one, or if this was on like a deep discount, I would definitely buy it. I'm somebody who tends to not pull the trigger on buying high-end mascaras because there are so many good cheap ones at the drugstore that I'm like, girl, why are you buying that $26 mascara when you can get the $5 mascara and have pretty similar impacts? So I only really treat myself when I get that sampler set. Then I have one that came in my Trend Mood box. This is from Nabla. It's their Vicious mascara, which is basically is it a jaguar or is it a panther? I should know this better, but it has a super cool handle. But I gotta tell you, that's really the only part of it that I really liked. The wand is super spiky, and if I wasn't careful, I did hit myself a couple of times and it did really hurt. But this is very much a lengthening mascara. It's a drier formulation. I used it, but I didn't love it. It was finicky. I had to do a lot of like wiggling the wand to make sure it would separate enough. Like it just wasn't as cool or as great as the packaging, so wouldn't get it again, but I did manage to use it up. All right, we can talk drugstore now. I have three. I have one from Revlon. It's the So Fierce Eyes Wide Open. This one, I don't know, it was a brown mascara. The wand had these like diagonal hourglass shaped spikes to it. It just wasn't my favorite. The brown was more of a red brown than a chocolate brown, so it didn't really excite me in that particular category, and it didn't have like the wide open effect. I don't feel like it really did a whole lot for my lashes, so wasn't my favorite. I think I have another one of these because Revlon mascaras, and Revlon in general is very easy to coupon at CVS. So I think I have more Revlon mascaras to use up, but it will be a slow process. And then the top dog from the drugstore is definitely Essence. I have two from their Lash Princess line. I have the Sculpted Volume Mascara and the Curl and Volume Mascara. The Curl and Volume one was just okay. It has like an hourglass, more subtle hourglass shape. It was fine, but nothing that was super special or super impressive for me. I did prefer the Sculpted Volume, but my issue was, as you're gonna see here, the stopper wasn't great. It created a lot of like goop at the top of the wand, which just made it sort of a nuisance to work with. And if I wasn't careful, it would have like clumps on my lashes that I'd have to comb out or get out of my eye. So a little bit too maintenance-y for me, but I liked the effect in the end. So both of them were good. I'd have them again, but they aren't my favorite from the Lash Princess line. I have three eyeliners that I finished off. The first one that I have is an oldie. It's the Haus Laboratories Liquid Eyeliner Demi Matte Liquid Eyeliner in the shade Whiskey, which was brown. This is before they rebranded. This was definitely one of my favorite eyeliners when they were still in existence before they rebranded. I'm desperately hoping they'll come out with a new eyeliner under their new branding, but it hasn't happened yet because I did want to compare old formula to new formula or new brand versus old brand. But this is a really nice brown eyeliner. My only complaint was it did have a little bit of finickiness. Like it wasn't as foolproof as the black version, but it was still decent. I still did like it. Good news though, if you're somebody who was like me and liked this a lot, is CoverGirl Exhibitionist Lash Enhancing Liquid Eyeliner is my new favorite. If we look at them side by side, I know they're different colors, but work with me here. they essentially look like the exact same. They operate in the same capacity. So I was really pleased to discover that accidentally, because that is what I have been going towards ever since. In fact, I have, as you can see, finished off one of these. It does not last as long as one of these did, but it's still good. I can coupon this pretty easily, so I'm very happy to discover this. And then an old one that I used to get all the time and then since have stopped. It's the NYX Professional That's the Point Hella Fine eyeliner. They have a bunch of different widths and shapes in the in the That's the Point line, but this one is the teeny tiniest one of them all. This one, I feel like if you're somebody who doesn't feel super versed at eyeliner, is a great one, because it creates such a small line that if you make a mistake, you need to like thicken it or do something else to go back over it. You can probably do that pretty easily. This is great. It does not last as long as other ones that I have, but I just prefer to have a bit of a thicker one, hence why the CoverGirl one is the one I'm buying more and more frequently. I have a foundation that I have finished off, an oldie but a goodie. It's the L'Oreal Infallible 24-hour fresh wear foundation. This is the second one of these that I have used up. My shade is 400, which I'm pretty sure is fair or pale or whatever the lightest shade is in their collection. I very much appreciate this because basically it, one, matches me without having to be mixed, and that is pretty rare. I go through phases where I don't mind having to lighten foundations, but then there are other times where I'm like, I'm tired of doing that multi-step process. Just give me something that actually matches me, and this does. It's a very nice match for me. I also like that it isn't the heaviest of coverage. I definitely say it's more of a medium type of coverage. I can see my freckles through it, which does not bother me. I don't dislike that at all. And I feel like when you look at me, it looks like I definitely have something on my face, but it's not heavy or cakey. It definitely blends in with me. So I do like that aspect of it. It's something that I would definitely go out and buy again if I didn't have a pretty robust backlog. I really need to go through my foundations like I did my concealers a little while ago and really take myself to task and decide if I want all these foundations, and if I don't, what ones I'm gonna get rid of. My problem is I'm somebody who likes to do a test of foundations, and honestly, by the time I get to that point in my makeup routine, I'm not looking to have an experiment go wrong. But I think for me, I'm just gonna have to suck it up and start to try that so that I can weed out the ones that I'm really not that interested in, because this was great and I wanna have more great ones and only great ones in my collection. Then I have another sample. This was the Benefit Warm Seashell Pink Blush in Shelly. I have to say, I really didn't pay attention when this rebrand or this relaunch of their blushes came out. I kind of was like, okay, like whatever, Benefit. Even though I have panned 2 Benefit blushes and currently have a pretty decent amount of pan on a 3rd Benefit blush. Like, I like Benefit blush. I didn't really get excited about it, but I have to say, in the sample cards, I've had this one and another one. I've actually really liked them. I feel like if they came out with, around holiday time, a collection of like 4 of these or even 6 of them in a little palette, I might be tempted to buy it because I really have liked the shades. And I would say with both Shelly and the other one that I tried, I wouldn't have normally gravitated towards them, but I really ended up liking them on my face, and this was no exception. So it's really on my radar. I'm not in the need for blush. I'm not in the need for anything, to be honest, but I'm not necessarily looking to buy blushes right now, but they are really on my radar, where if I see something that I like for a collection or some kind of combo, I might pull the trigger. I have 3 setting sprays that I have finished off, all of which I think fall under the same category of type of setting spray. So the first one that I have is my MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus. This is my favorite. I like this quite a bit. I think it's a really nice setting spray for me to use in the drier months because it just sort of helps lock my makeup into place, but also give me a little bit of hydration or a little bit of a healthiness that I wouldn't ordinarily have in the drier months. I don't like that look as much on me in the summer, so I'm less likely to use a setting spray like this, but this is just the top dog. It's just expensive, so I tend to only buy it when it's on sale. Theme of my life. I do have one more of these because I bought a couple during an Ulta 21 Days of Beauty, or maybe it was a Macy's, but somebody had them for half off. So I bought a couple at that time and I've used up the first one from that. And then I will probably pull the next one out in the late fall. Once this was gone, I still had some time left in the winter, so I did go for the Catrice Prime and Fine. This is the multi-talent fixing spray. So again, that fixing term is what sucked me into this because it sounds a lot like this. And it was good, but I will say, while this seemed affordable compared to this, you get a fraction of the product. This is 3.4 and this is 1.69. And arguably, I still think buying 2 of these is still less than 1 of these. It wasn't as good as this one is, and I went through it pretty fast, so that is a deterrent for me, but it was decent. And the last one that I have is from ZC, because I went through a small window of time where I was getting like the monthly ZC mystery boxes, and I didn't get a whole lot that I liked from that line. This was their lasting makeup setting spray from their Living Colorfully collection. This was just fine, nothing super special. It was similar to this. It had a little bit of like a sheen to it. Sheen might not be the right word, but it was not clear in this bottle, so they had definitely put something else into it. Nothing super special, wouldn't go out of my way to buy it. I still prefer MAC over everything else. Okay, I now have some maybe boring products, but I wanted to put them in here anyways. So I have some tools that we are saying goodbye to that have been completely used up. The first is my e.l.f. makeup. I think it's the Total face sponge that they sell. This is my current favorite face sponge. It's either this or the ColourPop silicone core. I kind of switch off between the two of them. This is just a lovely one for me. I like that it doesn't absorb too much of the product when you're applying it. It's decent. It's just a nice way to apply foundation. I like it a lot. I keep buying it over and over again. I also have 2 brushes that I'm considering used up. Hear me out. So the first one comes to us from e.l.f. You might notice it's had a wee bit of a curve, and that is because it broke apart, and then I tried gluing it back together, and we were unsuccessful on that journey, but it's a pretty inexpensive brush. It's the Flawless Concealer Brush. So I went ahead and just bought a new one. I mean, I've had this one for, I think, at least a couple of years. This is my preferred way to blend in my under eye concealer. I just think it works really well for this particular part of my face, and it's soft and it blends it in really well. So I'm happy that they did not discontinue this one because it is one of my favorites, and I did use her so much that I had to rebuy her. On the other end of the spectrum, I have this Morphe brush, and I can vaguely make out that it's the B79. Same story here, but I am trying desperately to replace this one, and I just cannot seem to do it. They don't make this one anymore, at least not from what I can gather on Ulta's website, on Morphe's website. I'm also not like a big Morphe fan in general, but either way, if they had the brush, I would have bought it. But looking at this, it seems like a very simple brush to replace, but it's proving to be very challenging. I don't know what they technically called this because upon Googling it, I can't find it. I think that would be very helpful for me, but here's how I used it before she finally died on me. This is the brush I would use to apply my cream shadow. So all up in this area to start out my makeup routine or my eye routine, I lay down my paint pot, and then in this area from here up, I apply my cream just to kind of make everything work out for me. This is the perfect brush for this. I have found that other ones that I thought looking like eyeballing it on the website that I thought would be this shape, either end up being more of a bigger crease brush or blending brush, and they just aren't quite what I'm looking for. So if you have any suggestions on what brush to replace this with, please let me know, because I have purchased 3 or 4 in hopes of replacing it with this brush. And they're all okay, but they're not as great as this is for that job. And I use this brush every single day for years. Long time I've had this brush. I'm very married to it. And I'm sad that even upon gluing it, it did not come back together for me. So I'm parting with it because I use the heck out of it. Some other tools that I've used up, I have 2 of my e.l.f. Daily Brush Cleaners. These are great to spritz on my brushes wipe them off to get any color, powder, or product off of it and keep them disinfected from day to day. Like these a lot. I'm sad I can't get the jumbo size anymore, but aside from that, it's great. I also have from e.l.f. the Solid Sponge Cleanser. This is my favorite bar to use to wash my brushes about once a week. I know you could probably just use dish soap, and for a while I did, but I just like having the ability to rub my brush directly onto the bar versus having to have soap in my hand, and I just think it works better for me. So I do like this. The one thing I wish I could do is I wish I could just buy this container once and buy replacement bars of soap, but that's not an option. So I keep buying it, and I'd say I go through it maybe one every 3 to 4 months, maybe even 5 months, but it's a good thing, good bang for my buck. Happy that I have it. I've also got my beloved Q-Tips Precision Tips. I use these every day to clean up my under lash eye or my lower lash line. Yeah, lower lash line, because I don't apply mascara down here. As I mentioned before, I'll keep mentioning it. I have long, sparse, almost like whiskery type of lower lashes. So I don't put mascara down there, but inevitably, especially at the corners, there's a lot of crossover of my lashes. I tend to like nick that bottom part, or I have some kind of eyeshadow fallout, whatever. So I just go ahead and with a bit of micellar water, clean up that under eye area, and these are the best for the job. I've tried a ton because these are not easy to find. I get them on Amazon every now and then for probably a higher price point than I should be paying, but whatever. But they are the softest out of all the ones that I've used, and I like them the best, so I keep going back to them. So there you have it. Those are all of the makeup products that in the last like 3 to 4 months I finished off, which I feel like is a little bit skewed because you think I've used a lot of products in that short amount of time, but it's more like I just happened to have the stars align and I used a lot of products up all at once. And I'm sure I'm gonna go through a dry spell where I won't have a ton of color cosmetics, maybe besides mascara, that I have gone through. But I so appreciate you being here, hearing my thoughts while I play a little bit of catch up, pulling out my empties from the hoarding closet, and I'll catch you in my next video real soon. Bye.